The D and Davis Show.
All right, dear Davis Show, we are still in COVID formation, and we always appreciate you spending a little time with us because you don't have to. Hopefully, we give you some information, a little bit of levity, and send you on a good way to brighten your day and anybody else's day moving forward. My name is Kenneth Davis, and you know my partner in crime. His name is
D. Demond Spurl. What's happening, everybody? Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at D and Davis Show. Once again, it's at D and Davis Show. Click on the bio link, and take you to everywhere we are: iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube. Hey man, simply search for the D and Davis Show of all of our shows. Subscribe, rate, share, all that good stuff. All right. I'm on Twitter and IG at Demons1, DEMONZE1. Ken is on Twitter and IG at That's Davis, and executive producer of the D and Davis Show on Mr. Ryan Bukoveski. Ryan's on Twitter at Ryan B. Ski and IG at Ryan B. Ski1.
It's a good article in the Chicago Tribune about our big bro Lawrence Holmes and how he's handling his show during
Absolutely.
COVID and with everything that's going on as far as the George Floyd and how it's changing the country, Breonna Taylor, and so on and so forth. So make sure you check out that article with the Tribune. Definitely a shout out to Lawrence. Also, real quick, on NBC Sports Chicago, there was, I believe it's the State of Sports, but there was a nice forum, and our boy Tony Gill is on talking about race and what's going on out there. Mm-hmm. So make sure that you on demand or go to the website and you check that out and you give it a good review and you support our dude, all right, because it's nothing but
all our guys on there.
Definitely, all of our guys are on there, and particularly Tony. Mm-hmm. But all right, so guys, let's go off top.
Off the top.
Off top.
Or should I come down like Macho Man with the elbow?
I guess we'll see, right?
So listen, he is I want to say habitual line stepper, but he can be a bit of an irritant. But I enjoy him, and in some ways, I kind of like him a little bit more than Rafael Nadal. And because Nadal has won so much on clay, it kind of throws off the thing for me, all right? Just be giving you all the facts. But Novak Djokovic, who came out and said, and I'm not just all hating on it, he wasn't going to take any type of, what's the name for the virus?
Vaccine?
Thank you, D. Vaccine for the virus. And then kind of backtrack. But he had a tournament in Serbia, and I also believe Croatia, called the Adria tournament. And people started to come down with that old COVID. You had Gregory Dimitrov got in contact, I believe, 3 other people, Borna Koric, and even now, coming out yesterday, you had Djokovic coming out and saying that he tested positive for coronavirus and now says that it was too early to hold this tournament. And I just want to let you know how bad this gets. When Nick Kyrgios can come out and label your decision a bonehead and says that it makes no sense that you guys broke the rules, basically. And again, Nick Kyrgios, when he can come out and dish you, you living a bad life. Because listen, I've liked Nick Kyrgios like 5-6 years ago because I thought I don't know if he's from Aussie or New Zealand, but I thought the young man with his talent was going to excel, but he makes tons of bonehead decisions out on the court. I've even seen him quit, all right? Super talented, petulant as hell, right? But when he's right in condemning your actions and the amount of people, also any footage you see of the Adria tournament, there was no social distancing going on. There was no masks being worn. This was like bonehead stuff that we see some people do here, and we scratch our heads like, what are you doing and why are you risking your lives? And it's more important not just your lives, because those are usually young people. It's the older people and the people with underlying conditions that you're risking with just being selfish. And we keep seeing like I think in New York, it went up like 10%. In Florida, it's young people now who really are catching the coronavirus. And I know you in the back of your mind, you're kind of like, well, they're young, they'll be able to heal. But where are they going with it? They're already hanging out with their friends, not protecting themselves and social distancing. But when they bring it home to grandma, you know, when Nana got to go, why Nana got to go, right? You know what I'm saying? I want to know how many people. I've been through it. I just want to peep in, and this is sad to say, on some of these funerals where Nana caught the virus and nobody know how she got it because she wasn't leaving the house. Right,
and they all looking around each other. Who gave it to Nana?
Who gave it? Yo, you was at the club all the time, right? All the time. Yeah, so man. Getting back to it, Novak Djokovic, dude, what are you doing? It was super. I know it's for charity. It was super irresponsible. It made no sense. And again, we've led with this from 4 or 5 months ago. No one is shutting down their economy for something that's not real. And I'll leave it at that.
Wait a minute, this is in Serbia, you said?
Serbia. But initially, I saw Serbia and Croatia.
Okay.
So I'm unsure if it was just Croatia, but initially I saw it was held in Serbia and Croatia.
This should be a warning sign to anybody in any part of it, in it, whatever they do in their life, right? I don't care if you're a professional athlete or everyday Joe. Don't go places. And I know, like, say Chicago about to go into phase 4. The Midwest, a big part of the Midwest and the Northeast is kind of, kind of get into the green zone, which is good as far as like opening it back up, right? But still,
It was Serbia and Croatia. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, but still be cautious about what you are doing. You don't know how. Ken brought up the simple fact of, saying give it to Nana, basically saying you might give it to somebody else who might be older person on underlying conditions. But you still don't know how your body is going to react. Check this out. So I was watching, what was it? I forgot what show it was. But basically, somebody who was younger, whole entire family got it. But check this out. Each one of them had like a different symptom, or they was being affected in a different kind of way. So it wasn't as if like, oh man, we all got it. We all feel the same. Everybody felt different. So you don't know how you are going to react to this virus. You might be asymptomatic. You might have like a little sniffles. It might take you out. Like, as far as like putting you in the bed, you can't move anywhere, or God willing, it doesn't happen to you, it might take you out literally, right? So that's why I hope people see things like this, read stories like this, and just be precautious on every level. It doesn't matter if you're rich, if you're young. It does, unfortunately, hit African Americans and people of color more, but that's a whole nother story. But things like this should kind of like throw up a warning sign to you. It's like, put a mask on. Be cautious. Don't just go everywhere. You see everybody over there chilling at this party. Don't mean you got to take your ass over there and go to the party. And if you are going to go, put the mask on and social distance if that's what you really want to do. So, I mean, it's just unfortunately another story, man. But it's a story that we've been hearing time and time and time again. Real
quick before Ryan, you jump in. One thing I did read in the article about 3 days ago that it may have been 4 to 5 that it actually, if your blood type is A, you're more likely to catch it than if your blood type is O.
Oh, I'm B plus. What they say about B plus?
I think you're still lower than A.
Oh, okay.
But I think the ranges from A to O is where, because actually I forgot my blood type and I was trying to hit the doctor up and I was like, hey, what's my blood type? Mm-hmm. And some nurse hit me back and was like, well, for you to have surgery here, we don't have your blood type. I was like, how about a colonoscopy? I had that. Mm-hmm. Counts as surgery or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I forgot. And I used to know my blood type, and it's ignorance on my part. But I used to know my blood type. I don't know. It's a chance I think I may be O. Athens O. It's a chance or negative or something like that. Ryan, what are you?
I think I am A. I think I'm A negative.
No!
That's why you've been feeling bad lately.
But as far as
going down.
As far as Novak Djokovic in the tournament, Ryan, what were some of your thoughts you come up with?
Besides just the human side of it, since we're a sports show, just kind of looking at a tennis tournament. Tennis was looked at as like one of the safer points,
which I never got.
Just because less people.
You're touching the ball and you're touching it. It's like,
I think it's purely just on less people because you're touching the ball in every sport, Like true. The only one would be, I guess, hockey, but you're inside breathing the same air.
You're close together. Well, the one thing Dr. Fauci was saying months ago, or maybe it was Dr. What was the lady name? Dr. Breck.
Who owns all the scarves?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name.
We'll call her Scarf Tina.
Scarf Tina. Well, that's a name.
Scarf Fauci.
Scarf Fauci. So, she was saying, it was one of the others saying, like, if you're going to play tennis, have colored balls. So, or basically swap them out. So whoever this association, I don't know if was this with the WTA, this tournament, or was this something, saying?
No, this was him. This was
something he just did.
No.
Well, he didn't. He the warners of Dr. Fauci and Mrs. Scarf. Because they were saying, like, if you're going to play tennis, like, you can definitely play tennis. To your point, Ryan, you're thinking, like, a lot of people thought, like, oh, man, you're distance, you're not touching each other. But they say it's the balls. You still have to swap out the balls, or it's color balls. So if Ryan and I was playing tennis, I would have red, he would have yellow. And that was it. So, saying he was served with his and I was served with mine. But obviously, in this case, maybe they didn't do that.
And you look at like baseball, because this was, I believe, outdoor, right, Ken? And baseball, they're going to allow 20% capacity in some states, and a lot of places other capacity for fans when baseball, or if baseball comes back. So now you're talking like, there's the formula. There's the formula.
It's weird though that they're talking about 20% capacity. I get that inside because you spread out, but you still got to come in together. And then you still have to go and get something to eat if you want to get, unless they're going to figure all that out. Are they going to give you talk? Yeah, are they going to give you times as to when you can enter? So what, going to be like a 5-hour delay? I mean, a 5-hour interest until they get to a game. It's probably like 2.5 hours. That's the kind of stuff that doesn't make any sense.
I think it's about making money, and we'll worry about the.
Well, obviously, yeah.
I don't know how y'all moving out in these streets. I do what I need to do. I get to the crib and I try to cleanse everything off. I wear gloves out here. I know you be out here hands free all the time.
But I wash them regularly, baby.
I wash my gloves. Listen, I put hand sanitizer on my gloves. Mm-hmm. But my gloves are my last layer in case, like in an emergency. Like for instance, like this day, I came home and the lady across the alley from me was taking out her garbage. And if I'm out there and I catch it, I take it for her or whatever, right? And
she older lady or something? Why are you taking the garbage?
Nah, she's sexy.
I don't know. Say it. Do you just want to be
older lady?
Oh,
she's
okay,
an older lady. Like, of course, she's an older lady.
All right.
So she's an older lady, and when I see her, and she was at the gate, but I know it takes her a minute, and she had a bag, and she's like, you can't put that bag. That's in the recycling. I was like, I know. Now she let me know it was recycling because if you don't know, for some of you idiots, can't put plastic bags in the recycling bin,
right?
Because people do it all the damn time,
right?
But so I had to open the bag up. She had tied it a knot, open it up, and dump it. Mm-hmm. So even now, I just came in the house. So what I did then was, as soon as I did that, I just went to my garbage can. I took my gloves off, and I threw it in the garbage can because I was super contaminated. There was no need for me to go touching other shit, and I had that extra layer now to where I could take off the gloves and I got my hands or whatever. So that's really part of the reasons why we wear gloves here or whatever. But the point that I was getting to is, look, I'm moving in and I'm moving out. I'm not sitting nowhere for 3 hours, going to the restroom where people have touched stuff, coming back out. Like, that's ridiculous. You play with your life if you want to, right? Yeah. Play with your life if you want to. I'm not even going to. I don't want to risk my family.
Can't hold on to those Cubs tickets until when you're gone, or whatever the saying is.
You say what?
You can't hold on to those Cubs tickets when you pass on.
Good point. Right?
I gotta go now.
You don't. Dude, this is prime time, and the whole reason that Dr. Fauci was saying before about why it'd be great if sports will come back would be a distraction for people to stay in the house. So stay your ass in the house.
But
and again, baseball is my favorite sport to witness live because it's outside. Mm-hmm. It's in the summertime. You're sitting with people. You're having great conversations. Usually, you're enjoying yourself. You know what I'm saying? But I'm good this year, man. Listen, you ain't gonna catch me unless we getting paid to be up in there, and then still the dollars gotta be right.
Right.
You ain't catching me at nothing, dog. They tell me I ain't gotta come in the office. You actually think I'm just gonna be like, man, I haven't even went out to a restaurant yet. All right. Like now, maybe this summer I may run the risk of it to do something with the family. But, like, I'd rather get whatever food y'all giving me, get it home, wipe the container down, all right?
Yeah.
And just be like, what's the point of staying in quarantine to just screw quarantine over and we don't have a vaccination?
Some people are just hell-bent on getting out. I understand that. I mean, you drive anywhere, you look along the lake and the lakefront is open. Chicago might be a different breed because we did so well doing quarantine and it's not as bad. But if you look on the news, I mean, 2/3 of the country is like all red. And it's the cases is just flying through the air. If Arnold Schwarzenegger had to come back out and say, put your mask on. You know what I'm saying? He got to come back out and say, hey, California, put y'all mask back on. I mean, that should just let you know, man, stuff ain't right. All right, so off the top. All right, so we talked about this, I think, last week about Bubba Wallace, or maybe 2 weeks ago. We talked about Bubba Wallace. And how
He's definitely been within the last 3 weeks.
last week, right? All right, so we talked about that. And before, what was crazy, we talked about it. We talked about the simple fact of he's saying he wants the Confederate flag to come down. And I think within days, if not the next day of our show, NASCAR came out and said, hey, we're taking the Confederate flag down, right? Talked about it again. It's like, hey, man, this is not going to be anything nice. You're going to have a lot of people out there that obviously love that racist ass flag, but that's, I think that's all our opinions. I think I can say that. But you're going to have some pushback, right? So a few days ago, it was reported that a noose was found in his garage number 43, and I believe this is down in Talladega, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So what was great to see, NASCAR, the front offices, the drivers, all the pit crews stood behind Bubba Wallace, and even had Richard Petty come back out.
Hey, and NASCAR King.
Yeah, NASCAR King.
In his 80s, and he's been laying low.
And he came back out.
We also let you know about him being cautious. He's been low.
Yeah, I haven't seen Mr. Petty in a very, very long time. Very long time I've seen him on TV at all, right? So came out and support him. And what was also great to see, you saw a lot of black faces down there with Black Lives Matter.
I don't know about a lot.
That was more than hell. Let me tell you something.
That's all about
whoa. That's a lot at NASCAR. I'm sorry, sir.
Well, economic-wise, that's not enough when you get rid of all the
body-wise, there. Anything over one, man. That's a lot of y'all down there. It was only
anything
3.
more than Bubba.
Anything more than Bubba. That's a lot. So the
pit crews brought their family. The brothers in the pit crews had their families out there in the stands.
So, but reports came out and the FBI was brought in to investigate the issue because a noose was believed to have been found in his garage. NASCAR actually came to him. Bubba didn't find it. He was in his, I think call it a trailer home, but basically like, what I'm saying, his spot where, because everybody has a quarantine. NASCAR official came to him, told him what was going on, and they put out a statement. FBI was brought in. Today, the news came down that the FBI said that the noose was placed there a while ago in October, I believe. In October, and I believe it was supposed to be something like to pull down the garage door, but somebody saw it and thought it was a noose, right? So no harm, no foul. It was not a noose. So as I'm watching this, as I'm reading this, I just so happen to see, I don't know why I clicked on it, Doug Gottlieb. He had a Twitter live feed going on. And I was like, well, let me see what he got to say, because I know it's going to be something crazy. So I go on in, I'm watching it, and he's talking about, well, you see this? This is just like Jimmy Kimmel has to come out and apologize about blackface. If you ever read about blackface, you know what he did. That wasn't blackface. That was very, very racist, what they was doing back in the day.
Not Jimmy Kimmel. You're talking about...
No, it was Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Fallon. You're talking about Fallon.
Both did blackface.
Both did it.
Is that much blackface out there? Both Jimmy's a blackface?
Yes, both Jimmys. And Jimmy, I think, did a skit of him playing Karl Malone.
I remember that skit.
Yeah. So he came out and apologized. But basically what Doug Gottlieb was trying to say is like, hey, look at this. You know what I'm saying? People rushing to judgment, talking about it was a noose. It's no noose. People coming out to apologize very quickly. We're now going to see that. And you're going to see some people talking about, oh, this is fake news. Listen, everybody. This is what's supposed to happen during an investigation. You report an issue, you think was something going on, you investigate it. If it comes out to say that it is it, you take action. If it's not it, okay, good, it wasn't the case. It's kind of like saying you go to the doctor and your doctor tells you, hey, you know what? I'm seeing something in these tests. I don't like it. So we need to go to a specialist to get checked out. You're kind of worried about it. Damn, all right, fine. You go to the test. Hey, everything's good. You don't go back to your doctor and say you're spreading fake news around. No, you idiot. You see something, you report it, you investigate it. If nothing happens, it's all good. But now I can see it coming.
Richard Petty coming out there for this?
Hey, listen, man. Hey, listen.
We almost lost a soldier because of this.
I'm just saying.
If I would think Richard Petty would say, okay, good. It's nothing. Nobody got fired.
Like,
nobody
in the bunker.
Nobody got fired. Nobody got hurt.
Someone's getting fired now, D.
I don't think nobody's going to get fired
I'm
because
just kidding.
I don't think so. If they was to turn around and say, yeah, we're going to fire somebody, that'd be asinine. You saw something, it was not it. You asked somebody to investigate it, they said it wasn't it. Okay, go on. But not can just see the moronics come out and say, the idiots and the moronics come out and say, oh, this is fake news. It's I saw somebody put on there Bubba Smollett. And Bubba wasn't even the one who found it. So this is what I'm saying. This is now going to be the narrative. It's like, unfortunately, when you're going against racism and white supremacy, you have to be 100%. But if you're not, you can just mess up one. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be perfect on it. So I'm just want to throw it out there. It's going to happen. You're going to see a lot of people kind of go back and forth about this. But an investigation, they did the investigation. It was showing that nothing happened. Let's move on.
Let's not forget also the plane that was flying the stars and bars with the defund NASCAR.
If you are mad and want to tweet something about Bubba Smollett, that's only because you are upset that they took down. You're not able to bring a racist ass flag into a race. That's the only thing.
A traitor's flag.
You losers. You lost, and you want to run with that.
Traitor's flag.
Yeah, so that's
that's the thing, the loser part too. But we want that country to get back together so fast. We was like, get all of that. Maybe we did too much.
And I have my theory, and this may be a flip thing. I have my theory as to why we're at the spot we are right now.
Does it have to do with the Civil War?
It does have to do with the Civil War.
I got this theory already.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe you can do a theory.
It's not even a theory.
What's your theory?
She was like, golly, you know what? We went too far. All right? Come here, give me a hug, because the last thing I need is for France and whoever the hell Britain is giving you money to tear us apart. Now, we just had the Revolutionary War. Come here, South, forget everything, and do whatever you want to those blacks. All right?
In so many words, that was yes. Only thing I would say real quick, I think if General Grant would have went like, oh, y'all committed treason, off with it.
What would have happened?
They didn't.
They were afraid that if they did that, the separation would have continued.
It would continue. Right.
That was the fear that we couldn't bring the country back together. And you got to, but this is real quick to go along with you saying it. Like you said, it's a flip topic. It's kind of what we're doing right now with our elections and worrying about other countries interfering in them. If you understand, with America being pulled apart and with the people that was making money off the North and the South, you're talking about blowing through blockades with European countries who are sending money back and forth, trying to advance their motives or whatever. That's the fear of, we got to heal this country, regardless of, they weren't worried about us before. We were used as a weapon to stop the South, as far as if we free them, then the South's economic engine won't be as strong. So that way we can get this war over with. That's why Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. All right. But I mean, still, they never healed, or they never confronted the issue in the first place. They blew by it. You look at the Dixiecrats and stuff like that, where it's just like, do what you want. Right? Like,
I mean, even Grant wanted to try to go against the KKK, and that was popping up during his administration. And he tried to, but it was kind of like, man, I can't keep going down there to the South with this military state, because then they're going to be upset at us. But also, too, they saw a commonality. They saw themselves.
Yes,
and honestly, their cousins, their family, their brothers. Their brothers. They saw that. It's like, nah, we can't do that to them. But I don't know if they would have went for real.
Not for you, D. Not for you.
Oh no. Yeah.
Not for you.
Okay.
Maybe for Ryan, but not for us. Not for us.
You ready for my off top?
Off the top.
Off top.
We'll do a quick one here, since we'll keep with the theme. NHL listing the 6 cities. Chicago, one of the finalists. You guys ready for some hockey in Chicago when they start bringing that COVID all over the place?
I think Chicago logistically is probably one of the best places, because I'm guessing we got 2 rinks within the city within walking distance. So no.
I think there's a theme of the cities they're picking. All the cities that are, I guess, taking the lockdown so seriously that they're not even going to consider fans inside, you're the only ones that get a vote. But Vegas is the favorite, so I'm not sure how that works. But I would think, like, why does Chicago look appealing? because they're saying we aren't going to just open the doors for everybody.
Yeah.
Better not go to Vegas, dog, because
I
those
wouldn't
dudes
think
gonna
so.
be gambling. They're gonna be at those damn hotels, those casinos, gambling. And we're gonna get to this later because I saw this thing on ESPN. I forget who was saying it. Maybe it was Dan Graziano, but he was talking about how veteran players are worried about the young players kicking it. Kind of remember what I was saying last week about being in a bubble and being young? Said veterans are worried about them being family men and being like, you know what, I'm going to be in this bubble, and dudes going out and kicking it. And like what D, you were talking about in your positional rooms or whatsoever, and that's not, even outside of there, catching being contaminated. You know, and it goes to the point of I wouldn't put it. Chicago's better than Vegas because you don't have as many things to lure you out to a certain degree, and we social distance. But I'll let you guys go before we go.
Really quick to your point, NHL still has older coaches too. So even if your young players get it, all of a sudden your coaches could have an issue too.
There you go. All right, well, come on back, have some more fun. D and Davis Show.
What's up, everybody? It's Cameron Smith from CBS 2 Chicago. You're listening to the D and Davis Show.
All-NBA center Nikola Jokic tested positive for the coronavirus in Serbia last week, but he has been asymptomatic. Meanwhile, Lakers guard Avery Bradley is opting out of the Orlando restart, citing family health concerns. Are you concerned about players opting out, obviously, for a multitude of reasons?
Well, my answer to that is so what? The question is not whether or not it's going to compromise teams. The question is whether or not we should be concerned about it. And I'll be damned if I'm concerned about it. Now, if LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Giannis Antetokounmpo, or somebody like that decides not to play, then I'm very, very concerned. But outside of the marquee players, I'm really not concerned about it at all. There will be adjustments made. No matter how you look at this season, the reality is every single player could have elected to play. And still, we would be talking about an asterisk being attached to the champion because of the coronavirus pandemic and the fact that play was stalled for 4 months and all of this other stuff. We'd be talking about that anyway. So ultimately, this is not going to be perceived as a typical season.
D and Davis Show, we are back here to talk some more sports with you. And the one thing that's happening right now is the return of the NBA. But with Florida being on fire with the coronavirus and getting worse,
full of Rona.
Some NBA players are kind of worried about now going down there. So I did see that they was kind of developing some type of ring that lets you know what's happening if you have coronavirus. But still, if it's everywhere in Florida, why am I taking my ass there? So a few players, and Ryan, you had mentioned a few players that actually came out and been thinking about possibly skipping the season. We have some that's kind of due towards injury, want to rehab. Some, and they could be up on contract years. I was watching ESPN, and Jay Williams, the first round pick from the Chicago Bulls, he mentioned if he was still in the NBA, he would have former first round pick. Thank you. He would have serious. He would be questioning himself on reservations about going down to Florida and playing in the season. I know it's going to be at the at Walt Disney World, and everything is kind of like in a bubble. But as we know, man, with this with the coronavirus, you never know who has it, how it's going to get to you. So, question is, brother, so you kick it off. What do you think about this? Do you think the NBA should hold off from starting the season, or possibly try to figure out some kind of way to move to a different location?
Jay Williams, and it's funny, I was watching First Take yesterday, and Stephen A. Smith, for my first thought, he started singing the song New York, New York. And my thought was, but see, I'll be honest, and I what Jay Williams said, it was too late.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, they need to move it to New York. I mean,
why New York though?
Because it's
basketball arenas.
Not even just that. I mean, they don't need real basketball arenas. So even when you say two, they have plenty of basketball arenas. Because those aren't real basketball. I mean, they're basketball arenas.
Yeah, like NBA style arenas.
Yeah, they just need enough room and a court, basically. But the
going to the Rucker.
Kind of what we were saying about the NHL. It was the epicenter and it's down. You know what I'm saying? And they have a thing about this. They have plenty of hotels that aren't doing nothing right now, basically. You know what I'm saying? So you want to put this in a place where Florida may become an epicenter. You don't want to send it because the problem is the workers. So now the things are the workers are going to be in the bubble. Well, I mean, that's a total different thing, especially with how much you're going to pay them, with their children and what they have to necessarily do within this bubble. You know what I'm saying? That's a totally different thing.
But real quick, my only reservation about New York is how it's such a dense population there.
But
I don't know if you want to bring everybody there.
But it's okay.
I understand what you're saying, but
case in point with the NHL in Chicago, though,
right?
It's low here, and people seem to have socially accepted the recommendations to curb the virus and flatten out the curve.
But Chicago isn't as dense as New York.
But it's the second densest place in the country, because even Los Angeles is more spread out.
It is. It is.
So when we're talking about metropolises, this is the second metropolis in this country, Chicago. So we're talking about metropolises, basically. So in a metropolis the curve has been flattened, you look and you control them going and coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think it may be easier in that metropolis. The only problem is the players then still have a ton of more things they can get involved in.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem. Also real quick, Nikola Jokic is now tested positive, and we know he lost a lot of weight, like 40 pounds. But guess where he was at?
Oh, where was he?
He was hanging out with our other Jokic.
Oh.
At the little tournament.
Oh, no.
What were they doing at this tournament?
The Serbs got to stay together.
Living it up. Living it up.
Like,
living it up.
Went to the tournament, has to test. He's asymptomatic. He has a week. He has to test negative twice within 24 hours before he can come back to the U.S. to join the Denver Nuggets. But Nikola Jokic sitting out there, and he caught it too, playing around.
Brian, what do you think?
Y'all got to stop kissing these girls with your mouth open. That's what my grandma said to me one time. Y'all been kissing them dirty girls.
Hey, whoa. I like
and let's bring them to New York.
Wait a minute. I know, right? And yeah, listen, I'm the only one of us that actually watched The Bachelor, right? I'm the only one, right?
Facts.
So the one
that's
thing.
That's a safe one.
Yes, that's a safe one. So wait a minute. I always talk about this with my coworkers. It's usually me and like another dude who watches it, right? I always say, they do way too much kissing. Why they doing so much kissing? And they all looked at me. It was like, what do you mean? The moms are getting to know each other. Like, they kissing too much. This is before the Rona.
You're not even supposed to be kissing people like that.
Come on, man. If I was
there used to be rules in the streets.
Exactly.
Some girls didn't even get a kiss.
If I was on The Bachelor, the whole biggest thing it would be like, man, so when will Demons kiss one of the girls?
Facts.
But we gonna slim these down. I ain't tonguing you down, and I don't know who you been to. That's how mono happened.
No,
Kissing disease.
Listen, I mean, I've never been with a prostitute.
Sound real old right now.
I've never been with a prostitute, but would you kiss a prostitute with your mouth open?
Well, I'm not saying these ladies are prostitutes, King.
We don't know, D.
I'm not saying that. Hold on.
I'm just saying.
These are some very nice, lovely
ladies. They're not prostitutes, but they may be free.
These are nice, lovely ladies that go on The Bachelor.
Ken, do they have The Bachelor on Cinemax or something?
I'm just saying, bro. Some girls wasn't getting I wasn't
Real
out there willy-nilly.
Bachelor edition.
I'd be more willy-nilly with the action than with a kiss.
How about this? With The Bachelorette? Don't go around kissing all these boys in the mouth either.
Oh, dude, I'm not putting it up. I'm not putting it on that.
All this kissing going on. I'm sorry.
All that mono being transferred. So y'all didn't grow up with no mono. That's the problem. You kids don't know nothing about no mono.
It sounds like MTV, like really bad reality TV dating show, like Find the Prostitutes, Bachelor edition.
Oh, good Lord. I told you these are very nice ladies to be on this show.
I was wrong. I shouldn't say that about them.
Prostitutes are nice ladies too, D.
Right.
How dare you?
I'm being facetious.
Okay. Hey, listen,
I'm joking and I'm being facetious. I'm not saying
all ladies have the ability to be nice.
They sure They sure do.
But I'm just saying that
Thank you for correcting me, Ryan.
I wouldn't be willy-nilly with my mouth action. Okay. And that goes further than just kissing.
I'm a survivor since '83.
Right?
Oh, Lord.
I don't be willy-nilly with my mouth goes everywhere. Like, watch, protect yourself, protect your neck.
I hope now in this Bachelor, I hope they be like, y'all can't be kissing each other like this.
And all that and all that hepatitis.
They got to be popping pills. Like,
well, maybe they like the kissing. They know, like, you know, they have those rooms where they like demo it. Maybe everyone's like, we need more kissing. I don't like this.
They wouldn't like me on The Bachelor. I'm like, I'm not kissing her.
Not like that.
Okay.
Son.
Okay, how good she looking?
I'm gonna go swing my.
She can kiss me on my
axe
neck a
instead.
little bit. She can kiss me on my neck. She kiss me on my neck. I'm known to be very clean. I'm a great cleanup guy. All right. I'm a great afterwards. I'm just telling you, like it's in the streets. It's like,
Get dirty, get off me.
No, I'm just saying, son. I don't
Oh,
keep that.
man.
I don't keep that on me long. I don't keep that on me too long.
Well, I just hope
Boy,
actually.
I guess-
Out about
Thanks,
it.
D. Thank you,
I hope
D.
they're not
You
watching.
took us to a flip.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Appreciate
I
it.
guess
We needed that.
a D and Davis show ain't going on The Bachelor anytime soon.
Hey, man, listen.
Oh, dude,
I would do it if I was single. Oh, I'll definitely do it. I'd love to do it.
I mean, for
I'll be the Bachelor.
popularity,
But what if you have
nah.
to kiss, D?
That's not my
Oh,
thing.
man, this is going to be a bad season.
Especially after D saw the sex ed stuff in Columbia, he ain't never been right.
You're so right.
He ain't never been. That's before I met him. I came into it and he was all messed up in the head.
D, why don't you want to kiss her? Well, you haven't seen what I've seen.
I took this class at school. Ooh, scared me straight.
Yeah, black.
Don't ever take sex education.
They have dark colored gonads in that.
Huh? Say what now?
I've seen an article about something like they have dark colored gonads in that.
Oh, no.
Okay, I seen an article about some site and they were talking about, yeah, you go to this site, it used to scare the hell out of people going to see that or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute, but I never had really a sex ed class in school.
Okay.
So when I was 21, I finally had like I knew about sex education. Don't get me wrong, but I had
you did at 21.
Yes, but I had an official one. And then it brought in a lot of different how can I say things that people like to do, and it was kind of like, whoa, partner, I didn't know y'all did all that, and kind of like, I gotta look at you again in a closer eye. Let me look at
I
you
can see
again.
D holding onto the desk, sweating. When is this class gonna end? Get out of here.
And it was
they don't even care
taught.
about herpes no more. So
And it was taught
Just so
by a
you know.
priest. And my class was taught by a priest.
Hmm.
Yeah. I had a class. Wait, I had a
Northern
class.
gets down like that.
No. It's at Columbia College downtown. Columbia College, Chicago. Love it. One of my favorite schools ever. I had a class about the human brain and kind of like consciousness by a guy who used to be a priest and was now an atheist. And my sex ed class was taught by a priest. He would come in and take off his collar. Like, okay, all right, everybody, let's have class.
what type of priest was he?
The guy who was
Catholic?
atheist?
No, the one that took off his collar.
I think it was Catholic.
Right?
Yeah, the collar.
No, it's a few more that wear a collar than Catholic.
Oh, I don't know. But he came in. I think he became a priest or a brother later in life because he said he had kids. So I think he was kind of one of those.
Or it could have been he's a priest that he can have kids, like they can get married.
Yeah, then he
Maybe
wouldn't be
that's true.
Catholic.
That's true.
that's
Yeah,
what
we
I'm
wouldn't be
saying.
Catholic. We wouldn't be
Catholic,
Catholic.
yeah.
Yes, it could have been that too.
On a Catholic school retreat, my class.
You went to those?
No, it was the whole class went. I didn't. This was a school trip. We didn't spend the night. We went out to Indiana. The whole senior class went. Point that I'm trying to make, and I'm sure people was looking at me side eye when I asked it, because I used to always go at authority. I was thinking about it earlier. Like I was a good student. Sometimes I wasn't a good student because I would go at authority. And I asked the dude, because he's sitting there talking about, celibacy and all this. And I'm like, basically, mind you, at this point, I was not beating my meat. And this was about 17 years old. And I was like, since you're not having sex, do you masturbate? And the people, and I mean, no one came, they didn't play with me like that at school. Right. So even if you didn't get along with me, you didn't play with me. Right? No one said anything to me. I heard through the grapevine, but it's like, why did he ask that question? What's going on with him when I asked that question? But my question was really to anybody that's talking about getting into that, because they used to, it was a chance. I wasn't going to go. I liked the campus, Quigley North. I enjoyed their campus. Our priest at Our Lady of Peace would take us there. I went there probably twice in grade school, because they used to try to send you to different Catholic high schools to keep the money going.
Yep.
And but even though growing up a lot, people used to want me to kind of get into the ministry, and I used to be like, I don't play with religion like that, right? I just don't. I don't think you should be you really need to be gun ho serious about doing something like that, and not just sometimes where you're like this because you're leading people. So that was always a no go. But people used to be like, "Well, you can pray your ass off, right?
You can pray your ass off."
I've never heard in my life.
Look at his form. Look how he goes down.
I used to actually levitate.
Look at his hands. They are symmetrically. They are perfect. He can
hit
pray
that
his
knee.
ass off.
You know what? He gets first meal. Give him first meal. He deserves it.
But so
get on the communion line. Here comes Ken.
No, I actually never joined the gang.
Oh,
never joined the gang. Joined the gang. So only communion line I got was in football in high school. We would take communion before games.
Before games,
go to the chapel.
Yeah,
and we would have that Father. Damn. Oh wow, that's messed up.
It's all right. You don't remember his name.
No, this was my dude.
This is your dude.
Yeah,
Father Flanagan.
It's not Ely. Father
O'Brien.
I'll get it in another show. No, this was my guy. This wasn't.
Is he still with us?
You know any other Irish names there, D?
Yeah, well, that's usually what that was at Brother Rice. It was all.
It's a Latin. No, his name.
That's all I knew was Irish brothers.
He would call me Caniche.
He would call you what?
That's Kenneth in Latin.
Oh, I'm about to say, what kind of slave name he trying to give you?
Father. It's not known as Mr. Feely.
It's Latin.
I'll get it. That's disrespectful. This is my dude.
Oh, Ryan. Oh, man. Okay, so we took a hard left turn. Okay, so back to the NBA. Going back. No, Ryan, please give us your thoughts. What do you think about? Is it? Do you think it's smart, or do you think it's a possibility that with Florida on fire with the coronavirus, they'll move the NBA season?
Man, I don't know. It's like they had these nice little plans to open up, hey, we'll just isolate them in Disney World. It seems like it's feasible that they could kind of control the bubble of Disney World, but we're saying how easy these bubbles and these facilities and all that stuff is breaking. All it takes is a couple people hey, I need to get out of here. I got to go party. Or just a couple people that are right. Maybe a family is living outside of Disney, and it's oh, I just want to be with my family, so I'm just going to go over real quick to my family. You go to a hotel, you do anything outside of the bubble, and even we know stuff coming into the bubble could be just a freak accident. Oh, this person wasn't tested properly, and they brought in a bunch of food that all the NBA players were, consuming. So I don't know. They are so determined to have a championship this year. I think it's still going to happen. I think they're going to limp across that finish line if they have to. But I'm having a lot more doubts about Florida and the whole idea of putting it in Disney World. And I don't know if there's much time for them to be able to just move it somewhere else.
Now, Ryan, to your point, we talked about this earlier with the NFL, and you mentioned hey, is it a possibility, or should the NFL think about saying delaying their season?
Yeah, I was wondering, just for all you guys in the group, I mean, we're talking biggest roster, 53 people when the season starts. You got all those coaches, you got all those personnel, and of course you can keep a lot of those different people away, but man, those facilities, I don't know if they're all outdoor air. You just can't be outdoor probably all the time. Where our players going to be rehabbing? Are they going to be working out? Are you going to be just doing that by yourself? Because injuries seem to play a little bit more of a factor in the NFL than any of the others. I don't know. I think it's pretty obvious. The NFL is headed for a delay. And if Fauci's right that you got to keep it to the core months, what the hell are they going to do then?
Yeah, because the core months, we're in the core months right now, right? This is the end of June. It's going to be July to August, and then what happens? I mean, September, it's still pretty hot, but after that, you're done.
Yeah, and it's only first few weeks in September.
Yeah, really, yeah, true. Until it starts dipping back down, and then you're starting hitting the 60s and 70 degrees around. I would say probably majority of the country. But no, I agree with you. I was watching PTI, and Mike Wilbon made a good point. He said he spoke to somebody. I think somebody in the league, a position player, and he was like, "What do you think about it could happen to entire position. So just say, for instance, you go into your meetings and your meetings on the football team, and the DBs, 2 DBs have it. Nobody knows. And then next thing you know, the entire DB squad has it. Now what? So with the NFL, you know what I'm saying, like you said, Ryan, yes, it's a big team, but the bigger the team, the more people who can get sick. It's not,
look at the Bears quarterback room. What if Foles and Trubisky go down?
Oh, Lord,
what do you got?
Oh, geez, I don't know.
Imagine a few teams that are reliant on like an actual good quarterback.
Yeah.
And how many of those teams just get taken out? Like, I don't know. Look at Deshaun Watson in Houston. He's lost so much talent.
Right.
You know, if he goes down for any amount of time, Houston might not even have a chance to qualify for the playoffs.
And that goes back to my point. I know we talk. I know I sound like a broken record. We love sports. We talk about sports on the daily, right? But you have to be able to sit back and say, is it worth it? Now you have with the Philadelphia Phillies. How many players got sick with the Phillies? Was test positive?
12.
It was. I was going to say 6. It was 12. It was that many.
I will double check, but I believe it was 12.
It was a good amount of Philadelphia Phillies who tested positive, right? 12. Can't just tell you about Djokovic. He's been overseas in Serbia partying with the other Joker. So now you got to get people to come back into the country, right? You don't know what's been going on, what they've been doing, and now, yes, it is early, and hopefully you can kind of like catch this early and kind of run with it. But it's just so many factors. And I'm with you, Ryan. If it's deemed to be the best time to play the games in the hotter months and outside, although, as I said, I don't know how long ago, the virus doesn't care if it's hot outside because it's hitting Brazil like crazy. And it's hot as hell in Brazil year round. So it doesn't matter about the weather. But if you're outside and you're playing and you have so many people that could possibly be exposed, is it worth it? Now, we talk about billions of dollars at stake, so of course they're going to push the players out there, and some players want to go out there and play. But I think leagues and people have to understand, or at least start to think, Ken, is it worth it to do this? Is it worth it? You saying that they're going to do it anyway.
They're going to do it anyway, but I opened up when we first started talking about it and said that they shouldn't. My only thing was what they were going to do, not what was right. I was only pointing out what's going to happen because of capitalism. People are going to try to get as much of the bag. The bag has been shrunken due to this when you have no fans in the stadium for the most part. And people are going to try to make as much capital as possible, which is understandable, even though in a country that's as rich as America, the fact that we can't take a hit says a lot about this country and our prep when stuff like this is going to happen, that we can't – listen, I don't know this is going to sound preposterous, but we can't shut down for a year in mini shutdown, not a whole shutdown, because everybody can't work from home. You know what I'm saying? So there needs to be things set up for people that don't have that access. But also, this is another thing, to be honest with you. We're a service country now. We don't really manufacture a lot of things. And I'm not saying that that's what we should go at, but if that's what we are, we should be going at it hard, because all this outsourcing, a lot of that could be here and people could still be making money here.
But you got the commerce of people don't want to pay $900 or $19,000 for a phone.
You know what? But you would think about it like this, though. If they was working, you'd still be making some taxes off of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Some things can be still made here.
Instead of always trying to eliminate everything to squeeze the turn up to you can't. And the fact that we keep allowing the powers that be on both sides. This isn't a partisan thing. This is both of them. To allow
it's America.
It's America. It's the world, right? To allow this one economy, not to say every economy influences other economies. I know that. But still, as far as propping ours up to when that is hit, we going to be kind of and we're so divided, we can't even get that. We can't get the simple stuff out the way because we keep allowing high school stuff to pop up and then festering and throwing gasoline on the fire. And it's like, dude, that's not what's a shit. Like, listen, and this gets back to what's happening now with the George Floyd thing. And when I say George Floyd, I mean everybody that's passed from it, not just George Floyd, right? including Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery.
Systemic racism and things like that. Yes.
Yeah,
just out of state. Yeah.
Just the people look like me being treated like people that don't look like me, treated lesser than people that don't look like me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. All I want is the same things you're afforded. But that's not the point that I'm getting to. But it's the thing that we keep allowing, and we know what the system is propped up on, and because it doesn't hit you, it's like I'm kind of comfortable with it because I'm living good. But see, that system being propped up on that allows this to happen because America hasn't been looking to what's next in general. And that, that's what America should have been focusing on. Like, you know what?
Oh, yeah.
How are we gonna get around the curve with what everybody is doing? And we're holding on to still natural resources and trying to use coal. And I'm not dissing people in coal country as far as getting their jobs and their money. That's not what I'm trying to say. But we're still holding on to the old ways that hurt the people that live in that environment, right? And we're not trying to get ahead because those old people benefit from those ways when it comes to coal, oil, natural gas, and fracking. You know what I'm saying? So stuff that's
you can sell that stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, I want to have a piece of land with a well one day. To be honest with you, that well ain't gonna be nothing with fracking. You know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna be fucking natural gas getting into my joint that wasn't ever to get into that because until fracking came out a decade or so ago, you that was a dead well that you had, right? Mm-hmm. Now it's like, man, there's more gas up in there, there's more oil up in there, right? And it's just like, dude, stop. We can move forward. Listen. I still want a little bit of gasoline. Don't get it twisted. All right? I'm always prepared for the bomb hit. Clouds in the sky, can't get no solar power. Need me a little bit of petrol. All right? But still, we should have the petrol for our kids. Like, I don't understand when fracking. Think about this. Before fracking, we was like, man, we ain't got no oil, no gas. It's a wrap, right? We start fracking, we be like, man, forget Saudi Arabia. We got some gas over here, right? Dude, that gas should have been in case something happened for our great-great-great-great-grandkids. They'd be like, man, guess what they left us? We went fracking, and we ain't got no sunlight, so our cars don't move. It's some more oil down in that BI, right? Like, I never understood why we don't look at natural resources as passing them on rather than let's drain these SOBs as soon as we can right now in our lifetime.
How about
that? Destiny BS.
Yeah, how about this? I was listening to Lawrence Holmes yesterday, and he had Mark Grody he's down in St. Louis, and they was talking about the baseball season. Mm-hmm. And he's talking about the owners and the players and, saying it back and forth. And he said one thing is kind of crazy is the simple fact that owners didn't foresee it, but didn't have kind of like a rainy day fund. Mm-hmm. Just in case anything happens, all us billionaires, instead of us trying to go take money from these players, yes, they are millionaires, but you have billionaires asking millionaires for help because that's typically how it goes, right? That's how you stay rich. You have somebody else pay for it.
Does in America, baby.
Exactly. How you did not have a rainy day fund.
Father Ildy. I didn't even find it. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Oh, you
Father
remember his name?
Ildefonso. Father Ildy, because it bothered me.
Ildefonso?
Yeah, that's his name, Father Ildefonso.
Oh, okay.
But it's longer than that. It's 4 names.
Yeah.
But Father Ildy was my dude.
Okay, Father.
All right, so I wanted to make sure I pointed out Father Ildy. Father Ildy, because it bothered me that Ildy slipped my mind, but Father Ildy, dude, was my dude.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
But no. It was, but no, it goes back to the point talking about how you said, we are pillaging resources now that we could use for the future. How about you kind of like save a little money just in case something happens? Now, I would hope that every league, all the way down to the person, the everyday Joe, understand what's happening right now and kind of pull some of those things, and maybe the people living in the Great Depression, stock up, understand what's happening and what can happen in the future, and have that rainy day fund, have that backup for yourself, because you never know, something like this might pop off in another 20, 30 years.
It will.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just hoping that leagues now see this and they're going through this, say like, okay, if this ever happened again, we go through another global pandemic or whatever, we're set up financially. If we had to take some time off, then we're not scrambling around and beating each other over the head to try to get some games played. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like we need to be we need to be prepared in case anything like this ever happens again.
Real quick, you know what Wimbledon did like 20 or 30 years ago?
They did the insurance, right?
They got the pandemic insurance, right? Going along with what you're saying, D. Like, it makes no sense that they was like, dude, what happened if a natural catastrophe took place, right? Or just something crazy. And I mean, that usually wouldn't happen nationwide. But still, like what you're saying is like a rainy day fund to where you're not putting money away. Just like, listen, the players do have money in case they have to go on strike, right? Now, we don't know how long that would last, but there's money that's put aside in case they go on strike. But owners, being separate entities for the most part until they get that TV money or whatever, that collect their money at the beginning of the year or depending on revenue sharing, they're independent contractors, basically. You know what I'm saying? Or employers, I guess is what I should say. You know what I'm saying? And it makes no sense going back to what Dominique Foxworthy was saying, that if an owner can't afford to have one year like this, he shouldn't be an owner.
The owner, yeah.
You know, and that's just, and listen, that sounds cold, but that's what people would say about us having a business that wasn't functioning properly, that was living in that way. Be like, well, maybe that's not what you should be doing. You know, and like, we allow this, and then like, especially like in baseball, like baseball's just so petty. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so petty. And listen, I'm happy that it's petty. You know what I'm saying? Because the light needs to be shined on it for what's been going on and what goes on with it. And I know the player union has a lot of power. So I'm not even just putting this all on the owners, but it's just like baseball being America's pastime gets an out where we don't really focus on the messed up things about baseball. You know what I'm saying? That goes back to the conversation that Chris Archer was saying when he was a Tampa Bay Ray before being traded, about not feeling comfortable to kneel because it wouldn't have been accepted in the clubhouse. And we don't get down to like the baseball, basically. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's stupid. You know, the fact that the owners, like in no other sport, like in the NFL, and I'm not saying it won't get to that point, they're not, and we know how contentious the NFLPA and ownerships can be, right? They're not trying to blast the players in the NBA. They're not like, these are the people that bring people into your business. If you belittle them and tell people like, y'all shouldn't like them because they being greedy over this, and you a regular Joe, even though I'm a billionaire, like, and you keep this narrative going, and it hurts your own business, which doesn't make sense in the first place. It's the epitome of cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah. I can't say any better.
And just to kind of go back to that Phillies thing really quick, D, I mean, 12 people, so that's 7 players, 5 staffers, just in training facility, probably not even the whole team's there, or at least probably not all the guys because they're still quarantined somewhere else. So that, I mean, it can just be like a wildfire, just rage and take out a whole team.
Yeah.
And we're talking about playing sports.
What about all these college teams that are catching it?
Now,
and they don't even get paid.
Now, Pete Futak, he mentioned
they
we
might
had
have to
him
sign
on
a waiver.
Ohio State AD asked that, but they don't get paid. But wait, they're student athletes, and they don't get paid, but they have to risk it to keep the economies of these towns, to keep these schools in the black, basically. These players,
you know how much the horseshoe costs, baby?
Right.
Yeah.
These players have to risk that to entertain you when your son or daughter won't even be back on that campus because they're not even going to really want them in their dorm rooms. But because we have to keep the game up with the players, quote unquote, that student athletes, and that's the real thing of the BS in this whole thing. Don't tell me they're student athletes, but you're really not going to let any other students on the campus. And the only reason you would is because you want to make it okay for these people to be there. So that's why you're doing it instead of doing the right thing and being like, we shouldn't have boosted up economies off of these kids that we weren't paying in the first place.
Exactly.
And that's
exactly.
The craziest thing
it come down to money. Go ahead, Ryan.
And we're talking about rainy day funds. Who they paying? Who is the NCAA paying? Who's the millionaires that they have to pay to keep their sport going? They don't got paid. Nobody. Where's the rainy day?
And this is why I hope that college players, because they basically amateur athletes, they ain't got to do with the student stuff, whatever like that. They're damn near semi-pro players, right? This is why I hope they understand their power. They hear stuff like this. They're making money off your back when you ain't making nothing. And then the kids that go to the school going to be at home, watching you run around, getting concussions and catching COVID? Nah, bruh. Understand what's happening. But I wanted to bring this up. We had P. Futek on early in the year. He did mention this. I think he might have been talking to Ryan and I don't think you had hopped on the call just yet. And he was saying, like, he thinks with the college football, they'll be able to kind of like, in a sense, kind of quarantine them too, just having the football players or athletes just be in one particular place and then that's it. But now, and that's when, you know, saying it was really burning there across the country. But now, okay, yeah, 2/3 of the country is like that. So let's look at Texas, look at Alabama, let's look at University of Florida, Miami, Florida State, whatever. Big powerhouses down in the SEC. That part of the country is on fire right now with COVID. So if I'm a player, am I going to risk myself to go back down there and be isolated when I don't know where everybody's coming back from around the country? It's just too much. It's too many questions. It's too many things that can just go wrong. And the same thing that happened in the NFL with the entire positions and with the position can get taken out. They may. Right. A particular position can get taken out. It goes to Ryan's point. A whole team can get taken out by this. So it just doesn't make any sense. But they're making money off their back, and it shows right there, man. They really making money off these guys back who are not being paid. They're willing to put them out there to risk it even more.
I care about you.
Yeah,
take your ass out there in that COVID.
You playing with COVID and you're not even getting paid.
Right.
Come on, y'all.
But everybody else getting bucks.
Figure it out.
Right.
Figure it out.
And they got the scholarship. Wait, what about the other kids that got the scholarship that don't have to go there? The academic scholarship kids don't have to be on campus.
Yeah, David with the engineer scholarship, he ain't got to come. Why I got to come?
If he can figure it out on his computer, he's good. But they're student athletes and they're ungrateful.
You got the tiers of scholarships. How many of those lower tier scholarship people are like, man, I don't even get a full education, and now I'm coming down here.
On top of that,
even more.
On top of that, I can't even take the classes that I need. I'm not going to the pros.
I'm not even getting my education.
I can't even take the classes that I need to get into the profession that I want because I got to be here 24/7 on this football thing, and I can't even get a job. It's so funny because it just points out the hypocrisy of the NCAA.
Oh, Ken, your point
is when it comes to revenue generating sports.
Mm-hmm.
What you just said, how many of these guys were working somehow around their athletics, but now definitely can't because
I can't go on campus and shovel leaves. Right. I can't work in the mess hall or whatever, stuff like that, right?
Like if they're working at, let's say, a fast food restaurant, maybe
closed,
they furloughed. Yeah.
Just working at Sears.
Maybe tutoring.
Yeah, whatever it is, I have no option to do that. But get your ass out there and catch this COVID in that huddle, right? Man. Tackling somebody, catch that COVID.
I just hope this kind of really changed the focus and the narrative in this country around for a lot of things. This should really put blinders on in a good way about the things that need to change. We're kind of seeing it right now with social justices, but it's a lot of other things that need to be looked at because of what's happening right now. Hey, thanks for listening to us and checking us out. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and IG at D and Davis Show. Once again, it's at D and Davis Show. Follow us on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube as well, and a whole host of places. All right. I'm on Twitter and IG at Demons1. Ken's on Twitter and IG at That's Davis. And Ryan is on Twitter at Ryan B. Ski. IG Ryan B. Ski 1.
Love you, brothers.
Love you too, man.
Love you too.
Always appreciate it. We're probably going to be within the thick pod for the flip.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful out there is what we ask. Love you, Aaron. You all take care of yourselves out there. And we're not joking when we say that.
Yeah. Keep your hands to yourself.